My name is Jake Podger. I am the host tonight of the AFC East Summit show. Tonight, we have 4 representatives of all AFC East teams, and we're really excited to introduce you guys to a new member. His name is Tyler. We're going to leave you with a little suspense, a little cliffhanger here. So more to come right after this. What is going on, everybody? We are so excited for tonight's show. Like I said, we have 4 representatives. Listen, and this is not to remove Chris from the channel or anything like that. Chris is still going to be on the show every once in a while. He's just working a lot of hours, and we need a Patriots rep because we're doing them dirty. And I feel bad because if Chris does rewatch it, we're not even talking about the Pats. So we had to bring someone on. His name is Tyler. He's here with us tonight, and he's rocking the Devin McCourty jersey. And I'm going to start with you right now, Tyler. How are we feeling tonight, brother? Give me, I guess, a general overview of how you became a Pats fan. I know you said you are from Massachusetts, so I'm assuming it's just by birth. But talk to us a little bit about that and introduce yourself to the channel.
Thanks. Yeah, from Maine, actually, which is used to be Massachusetts,
Maine.
But we separated a couple centuries ago. But yeah, generally, really, I didn't pay much attention to sports before about like 2018, I guess. Even like growing up, you kind of in New England, obviously with the Patriots, there's always like they won another championship, like that just happened. That's how it was, which is obviously very privileged as a football fan, but but was great. But really, it was 2018, and that playoff run, like the last big Brady playoff run, really that got me into the sport, which was good because I got to see a Super Bowl run and enjoy that and really witness it. But bad because I got into the sport on his last Patriots Super Bowl run, where if I'd gotten into it in, say, like 2014, would have been nice.
So we can't really call you a bandwagon fan per se. So no, I do like that piece. I do like that. Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I'll be here till the day I die.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, now, right? Now it's a little bit different time period. Obviously you guys are in sort of a rebuilding phase, and you guys haven't actually made the playoffs since 2020 or 2021 it was. Yeah.
2021. Yeah, Mac Jones.
And it was that, I'm just going to remind you, Tyler, it was basically a perfect game offensively for the Buffalo Bills in that divisional round. The game was super cold, and hell of an interception by Micah Hyde in that game. I think Josh Allen had a perfect rating. But I'm not going to rub any more salt in the wounds. No, you guys did a number on us prior to that, right?
Yeah, just Brady was a good quarterback, is how I'll put it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it goes both ways in this division.
That leads me into my next question for you: is who is your favorite Patriots player of all time? I know you said you haven't been a fan or super involved for very long, but over the course of your career watching the New England Patriots, who is your favorite Patriot of all time?
Honestly, like I have to mention Brady. I have to mention him at least because he was obviously the best Patriots player of all time. But I think Julian Edelman really represents what it means to be on the Patriots, I guess, in that like he wasn't necessarily like seen as like, special or as necessarily ever the best receiver, and he didn't really make the Pro Bowl, I think not even once. But what he did do was he kind of just every time the playoffs came around, every time it was a big game, he would show up and he would always deliver. And I remember the catch obviously in Super Bowl 51, which I did see. And you see that and you kind of gotta admire the guy.
For sure, I like that answer, man. Yeah, I think he really embodied the Patriot way. He quote unquote did his job. That was the motto: do your job. So I love that answer. But hey, we have 2 other guys on the show as well. Keith and Anthony returning in the flesh. Fired up to see you guys. Anthony rocking the Wayne Corbett jersey. And that's probably my favorite jersey of all time of a New York Jets player. So love that you're rocking that tonight. Keith rocking the Dolphins vest there. Looks phenomenal as always. Boys, we're on week 1 here of the preseason. And gosh, it is the most exciting time in the football world. But it's crazy because we actually did already have a preseason game that happened last week. They call that week 0 the Hall of Fame game, right? So very, very interesting because we had some new things debut. So not only new players, but a new kickoff rule. And it was very poetic because we had a guy named Devin Hester going to the Hall of Fame that weekend too. And I actually want to start with Keith on this one because I know Keith will probably have some choice words about this kickoff rule. I know he's not a huge fan of it, but let's talk a little bit more about this. Mike from our Nickel City Mafia, our Rush Hour show the other night, did a very good demonstration of this new kickoff rule and kind of explained it. And the whole purpose of it was really to like promote the return game and not to take this play out of the game. And I think it definitely proved to be that the other night. I think it kind of followed the path they wanted it to take. But Keith, I want to talk to you about this rule and get your thoughts on it. And tell me what you actually do like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it.
Well, all right. First and foremost, Jake, I want to welcome Tyler. Tyler, great to have you on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Seem to know your stuff. You had that one Super Bowl run back in, what was it, 2018, you said? Yeah. Well, I've been a Dolphins fan for over 30 years, and I've never seen a Super Bowl run. So you're a lucky man. Consider yourself lucky.
Right.
Now, regarding the new kickoff rule, Jake alluded to it. I'm not a fan. I don't. It just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel right for everybody to freeze until the player touches the ball. Kicker has to kick into a certain zone. I understand that they got rid of the traditional kickoff in the interest of player safety. And then they moved it up to the 30-yard line so that, the ball go out of the end zone more. And then they made the kickoff null and void. I think at this point, and at this point, I would be an advocate for all the teams just starting on the 25-yard line. Forego the kickoff entirely and just start on the 25-yard line. The thing I do like about it is that you're giving a chance to these special teams guys. You're giving a chance to a guy like a Braxton Berrios, who's supposed to be the Dolphins kick returner this year and punt returner. But, Devin Hester, he returned a few kickoffs in his time, but I think it's important to remember that Devin Hester really made his bones as a punt returner. That's what he was completely feared as. So I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't. And you want to talk about player safety and everything. This helps it somewhat because there's only 10-yard difference between the return team and the kickoff team. But guys are still going to get hurt on this play. This is still guys running at full speed towards a kick returner. You're going to find that there's probably going to be more explosive plays, but you're also going to find that guys are going to get hurt. And then the NFL is going to be scratching their heads and wondering what to do next. The fact of the matter is that football is an inherently dangerous sport. You're not going to take the injuries out of it. So either bring us back to what the kickoff used to be, where the kicking team kicked from the 25-yard line and the returner returned it or let it go or whatever, or just get rid of the kickoff altogether. And that's how I feel about it. And I will concede that I'm probably in the minority on that because I think there were positive returns from most people, but me, I don't like it. I'm a traditionalist. I'm an old school kind of guy. Get off my lawn, kids.
I love that, Keith, and I respect it. I think, I am very I am not about much change happening in the NFL either. I don't like it. It really, a lot of times it rubs me the wrong way, and I think they do it for the wrong reasons. But this is one time where I'm like, me, I love special teams.
Yeah,
I love it. I want it to be a part of the game. So anything we can do to keep this involved, and I want to see Dante Hall return back. I want to see the next version of Dante Hall. Like I want to see the next version of Josh Cribbs. So I'm excited about this because all I saw the other day were kickoff returns. And Sure, they weren't super exciting or anything like that, but I think we will have some of those exciting returns come back, and we're going to have that explosive return man who gets paid and is in the league for a long time. So
that's one thing I really wanted to sort of bring up, the fact that like what we're going to see, this new kickoff return, or this new kickoff rule, in my opinion, is going to leave a lot of interpretation available for special teams coordinators to come up with interesting blocking schemes, because they're going to be able to pull guys. They're going to be able to swing over players from one side to the other. If you notice, every team had 2 returners.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get the potential for things like something Miracle.
Oh no!
Music City Miracle.
Miracle.
Here we go.
Yes.
You're opening up possibilities for the NFL. I don't disagree with what Keith said, where I do think that they should move them back to like the 25. I think that they should start, like, both teams should start a little bit closer, but kickers should have to work a little bit harder to get into the green zone or into the return zone. And it should give the offense or the returning team a little bit more room, because right now it does seem like they're a little bit too close together. That said, I like the fact that they're incentivizing kick returns, because they spent it felt like a decade trying to get rid of the play. Like, they were doing everything they could until, by moving it a little bit closer, by making it a little bit more of an incentive to down the ball, by giving them up to the 20 or the 25. Like, it felt to me like they were diminishing the value of it, like they were eventually going to eliminate the play. And I like the idea that they're not going to eliminate the play. Like you, I think it's an exciting play. Special teams was always a way for like a bad team to even the playing field somewhat, because it's just one extra thing. You don't have a good roster, but like you can focus part of the back end of your roster specifically on really good core return men, really good core blockers.
And to your point, Anthony, I mean, Devin Hester, who we've talked about, he went into the Hall of Fame. He played for some pretty bad Bears teams. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl the one year against the Colts, but he played for some pretty bad Bears teams.
He returned a touchdown in that one.
What's that?
And he returned a touchdown in that one.
Yeah, he did. He did.
First Super Bowl ever to have an opening kickoff return for a touchdown, Devin Hester.
So I think there's a lot of value in that in the NFL. It gives an additional strategy to a team that needs it.
Yeah.
Some volatility, really, I think.
Real quick, guys, I want to give a shout out to Anthony, who already disagrees with me. I love it. Anthony and Josh are going to be joining me on a new channel that we're going to be starting up in a couple of weeks here. So I just want to give a shout out to those guys. Thank you guys for joining. And
is he a fellow Guido?
He is. So
nice.
I had to have at least one on my show, right? But so those guys are going to be joining me on a new channel, and it looks like Anthony and I already have something to discuss on the new channel. So I just want to give a shout out to those guys real quick. Let's move on.
That's awesome, Keith. I'm happy for you, brother. It's about time. It's about damn time, because you're so good at what you do with this, man. You really are, and you bring the energy every week. You know your stuff, and listen, I appreciate you because you are a full-time member of a Buffalo Bills channel, but now you've finally gone off and you've made a separate Fins channel. So very happy for you, brother. This is great. I'm excited to see what you come up with, and excited for you to chop it up with these boys. So thank you guys. Welcome. This is our fun AFC East Summit show. So we'll be talking all teams in the AFC East. We do this every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And tonight's a special night too, because we're welcoming Tyler, our new Pats rep, onto the show. And Tyler, you know a few things about special teams, being that one of the greatest special teams players of the last 2 decades just retired, Matthew Slater. So I want to get your thoughts on the new kickoff rule.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword where you might see more returns, but at the same time, there's just something special about the old system, right? Where I specifically remember it's like several times in the playoffs, you get the camera panning across from behind the kicker,
Yeah.
It was especially like an Arrowhead thing, I think, where you'd hear the crowd really, really clearly. Um, on those final drives, whether it was them kicking off to Brady or to Burrow or to any of the other teams that had to go to Arrowhead recently. Um, so I think maybe it's good for the game, maybe it's bad for the game, and we'll have to see. But I think the legacy of the old kickoff return was kind of special in a way, and I'm sad that it's gone now.
I think that's actually very well put, and I am with you on that portion for sure.
Yeah.
I think from a presentation point of view too, it just doesn't even really look right. I mean, it just looks
No.
weird. You have the kicker all by himself, right?
Mhm.
I don't love that per se either, but if it's in the name of player safety, which they vow it is, and the fact that it will keep the play in the game, I am here for it. But I'm 100% with you on what you said there, Tyler. I think presentation-wise, it just does not look, pleasing to the eye right now. So it's going to take some getting used to. There's no doubt. We did have a question come in too here. So D1 Chosen asking, how does Drake May look in camp? You know anything about that? I've heard some rumors. Gerard Mayo saying maybe not, he might not even play this preseason. What are your thoughts?
I mean, as far as I've heard, is early on it didn't look good. Obviously, it looked like a rookie. Looked all 100% of a rookie. But in like the past week or so, the past few days, he's looked better. There's been like some talk from like Lazar, I guess, especially about maybe he might need time with the ones just to see how he looks with some starters as opposed to the twos that he's mostly working with right now. But really, it's just basically what you'd expect from Drake May, because I think there was consensus around the draft time that he would take time to develop. It might be a year before he's ready to start. And kind of the Patriots are built with that in mind, and that Brissett is a steady hand while May figures it out. And other than that, I mean, it's just going to be about, I guess, seeing him develop through the rest of training camp, seeing if he gets anything in the preseason, which we'll see. I hope he does. Like, I really think it's important for a rookie to get what snaps you can in the NFL. Even if it's preseason, it's still important. And to see him build from there. But for now, I'd say it's going about as expected.
Tyler,
Yeah.
let me ask you this, man. Do you want to see Drake May play at all this season? Because I've contended on the show a few times that I don't think Drake May should play. I think Jacoby Brissett should start the whole season. I think that's how this season ideally goes for the Patriots, where Drake May just sits, holds a clipboard, and learns.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a very specific. I think mostly I agree with you. Drake May playing in the season is probably a bad idea. There's like one scenario where I think it could be a good idea, right? Which is you're getting into like say week 10, week 11, and the Pats are like 6-5 or 5-6 and something. If the skill players were good and the offensive line was good and the defense was good and the only thing holding the team back was Brissett for some reason, if they just needed a more explosive player and if Drake May's looking good in practice, I think I could justify it there. But I think the plan definitely should be for him to sit all season and to kind of gather the tools and the experience he needs for next year.
Cool.
That's a good answer. Well, we called him a modern day Phillip Rivers, and Phillip Rivers sat for basically 2.5 years under Drew Brees, right? So
Yeah.
panned out pretty well for him. So maybe it'll, be the same trajectory for Drake May. So good answer, man. I'm looking at the Our Lads depth chart, and I know none of this is super official, but I like Our Lads in terms of, the way that they update their depth charts daily, and they have some inside sources. They're connected with scouts and whatnot. And right now they're listing Bailey Zappi as the fourth quarterback on your roster. They got Joe Milton at third string, Drake May as the backup, and Jacoby Brissett as the starter. So What a fall from grace for the Zappening, Bailey Zappi. Maybe he'll do some stuff in the preseason here, but I've heard some good things about Joe Milton. Maybe not necessarily great things, but they're saying he's looked better than Drake May. And you can't really even tell the difference between the fact that he's a 6th-round pick and you got a 1st-round pick competing with each other. Kind of wild.
I mean, as far as I've seen, I think May has still been better in practice, but Milton has been good enough that he might get a roster spot, which for him obviously is great, given he's a 6th-round pick. You love to see it.
You guys know something about drafting 6th-round picks. It's crazy, man. Was Matt Castle a 6th or a 7th round, right? I forget.
I think it was a 7.
Okay, yeah, I think you're right. I think he was a 7. Because I'm just trying to think like Tom Brady, 6th-round pick. Matt Castle, the one season he had come in for Tom Brady, was a Pro Bowl quarterback with the Chiefs. You know what I mean? Good track record there. Maybe Joe Milton becomes that guy too. I don't know.
Take anything.
Patriots,
hell of an arm though on that guy.
The Patriots have done so well by weaponizing their like backup quarterbacks that were developing behind Brady and turning them into like second and third round picks for like a
It is crazy.
They just kept convincing teams that, hey, he was behind Brady, man. Like he's good.
He knows a lot. He's really looked at this football thing. You guys should take a chance on him, and they would. And it would. You know, they. To be fair, the quarterbacks kept looking decent. You know, Garoppolo looked fine. Castle looked decent for a while. Brissett is okay.
There were like 4 others too. There's just like a huge line of them that
wild.
they just weaponized. It was hilarious.
I think it was Jacoby Brissett's first career start as a New England Patriot, actually. They just ran option the entire time, and it was against the Buffalo Bills. And I want to say...
The problem there was that they were game planning for Garoppolo to play.
Right.
But then at the last second, he's like, oh, no, I can't play, guys. I'm injured. Which, like, I mean, okay. You could have told us that early in the week so we could have time to make a game plan, but, you know, we're not going to talk about that. Gotta love Jimmy G.
If this was Belichick's team right now, I mean, especially, he could never let a quarterback get comfortable in that system, unless your name was Tom Brady. Otherwise, there was never any comfortability. You had no idea who was going to be the starter leading into that week. I mean, Mac Jones, I almost feel for him, too, because, like, this is a first-round pick, too, guys. Like, he was already starting his rookie year and did some good things. Like, actually looked like a solid quarterback at times, right? Yeah. And then I think these last 2 years, it's just been like, oh, is he going to even start this week? Bailey Zappi might be you know, they had so many what ifs and so many question marks around it.
I just think it was the Matt Patricia pick as the offensive coordinator that really, really hurt. That
him and Joe Judge, right?
Joe Judge, I think, is like, okay, you know, he's a guy, whatever. He like did special teams. He commanded like a mediocre offense in New York or whatever. But Matt Patricia, why, like, the guy commanded like the 31st ranked defense in the league. The defense so bad it lost us a Super Bowl. Why is he being made the offensive coordinator now? Do you think it's gonna like go the other way? I don't know. That was not a fun season to be a Pats fan.
That Patricia hire was one of the weirdest ones I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen. And the thing was like, well, you know, he was an offensive lineman in college. Never mind. Yeah. For the past 10 years.
Crazy, man. Crazy. How about this one, Josh Feldman? I could see by the end of next season, the Pats have a Washington-type situation on their hand. They drafted a quarterback higher with May, RG3, and then Milton, Kirk Cousins. Wow. That's a hell of a comparison. I like it. I could maybe see that, though.
If Drake May tears his ACL while running the option?
Well, I have heard
maybe a little different.
Maybe look pretty good. Mm-hmm. I've heard the Joe Milton's look pretty good in camp thus far. I've heard that his arm is undeniable. He's got one hell of an arm, like a Josh Allen type of arm. And they say he's been looking good to better than May at certain times.
Colin Cowherd said that because one New England beat writer said something about it. The fact of the matter is, Joe Milton's 26 years old, guys. Drake May's 21.
That is crazy.
Joe Milton should have been in the NFL 4 years ago if he didn't fail upwards in college over and over and over again. Like
he is an old rookie, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 25, 26 years old right now.
Yeah. Wow.
So you're telling me that this 26-year-old looks a little bit better in preseason than the 21-year-old rookie? Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's fair.
And I'm a Drake May believer, honestly. I honestly, I mean, Anthony thought so too. We thought he was the best quarterback prospect in this class. It's just situationally, it might not be the best fit right now, but I think if he does sit, I'm all for him. I mean, you know what? I'm not for him sitting because I don't want to see him become the next guy, right?
Josh.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good place for him to be just purely because the Patriots, we have such low expectations that there's no chance he gets thrown into the fire. So, you know, like even if we go like, 2-15, it's not like we're going to change course because, the roster's obviously not in the best spot. And it's kind of a right year anyways.
And again, for the Patriots, for Drake May's sake, I don't want him to go into a situation similar to the one that Bryce Young was in last year, where he was behind a bad offensive line with subpar skill possession players, and he was just kind of thrown to the wolves. And it's not fair to really do that to a Drake May. Whereas Jacoby Brissett, he's the consummate professional. He's been doing this for a long time now. He's going to be able to navigate this storm that's going to be the Patriots offense much better than Drake May would. There have been quarterbacks that have been ruined by situations like this. You look at David Carr when he first went to the Texans, completely ruined. Sam Darnold with the Jets. The seeing ghosts comment that he made in one of the press conferences. It's like,
Bill Belichick killed that man's career.
Yeah.
That game.
Well, I would argue that the Jets killed that man's career because they didn't put a team around him before they threw him to the wolves. And I mean, maybe he would have been good. Maybe he wouldn't have been. Anthony and I have gone back and forth on that a couple of times. But the fact of the matter is he wasn't given a fair shake in the NFL. And I think that's what the Patriots owe Drake May. They owe him a fair shake. They owe him at least a somewhat decent offensive line. Give him a couple more skill position players to play with before you toss him out there. Jacoby Brissett will be able to make this kind of work in much the same way that Andy Dalton did when he came in for the Panthers last year. He made it look better than Bryce Young did.
Yeah,
because he's the veteran and he knows how to do these things. He knows how to get it done. So yeah, I just don't want, for Drake May's sake, not for the Dolphins' sake, for Drake May's sake, I don't want him to be thrown to the wolves just yet.
Yep. Speaking of weapons, I know we're doing a lot of Pats talk here, guys, but we have like a few months to really make up for it because we don't talk about the Patriots on this channel enough. And Tyler's our new guy, so we got to throw him to the wolves a little bit, give him some questions. I heard a rumor, Brandon Ayuk, maybe a potential Patriot in the future. Any merit to that?
I think there's some merit to that, definitely. We've been looking for weapons for years at this point because Belichick just didn't know how to draft any, to be frank, and that was kind of his weakness. Wide receivers doesn't understand. And I mean, I think it looks good. I mean, I think if our competition is Cleveland, then it's a home run for us, obviously, because why would you want to go to Cleveland?
Pittsburgh as well, Tyler.
Yeah, I heard Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah, I heard that earlier, but I mean,
Mike Tomlin's son, potentially Brandon Ayuk. Everyone, that's the rumor. That's the conspiracy that Brandon Ayuk is actually Mike Tomlin's son because they look alike. Wild. Yeah,
that would be funny.
Chew on that one. Yeah.
But
that would be interesting.
Pittsburgh and Cleveland, we can outspend them. We can compensate from them. Our team's worse. Our draft picks are going to be better. And I think getting Ayuk would be really good for May specifically. Just that number one steady presence. A veteran quarterback doesn't necessarily need it, like you saw that with Brady, right? You see that with Mahomes these days, where even with Kelsey, you don't need a number one receiver, a really good one, to be a great quarterback. But it's really important in getting these young guys to reach their potential. And you saw that with Mahomes and Hill, and you saw that with Allen and Diggs. It's just, I think it's really important for them to get May a big star weapon who's already a veteran, who doesn't have to learn, who's been in the league, who can really help him.
And you guys have your receiver room is interesting. It's almost like it's actually better than the Bills, I think, which it's crazy to say. We're comparing receiver rooms right now, but it's just so loaded with just average to below average guys right now, if you will. But honestly, I mean, KJ Osborne, solid player. Kendrick Bourne, solid player if he's healthy. Demario Douglas, I really like a lot.
Yeah.
And then you guys draft Jalen Polk and whatchamacallit, Javon Baker. And
yeah.
Don't forget Juju.
I
still got Juju.
Forget. I'm going to forget
Tyquan
Juju.
Thornton.
Okay.
Tyquan Thornton, Mike Thornton's cousin.
Juju.
Yeah.
They replaced Jacoby Myers, who was a steady wide receiver 2 for the Patriots, with Juju Smith-Schuster, and I could not have been more disappointed, and I still am disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't blame you, man.
That's good. That's funny. Let's see. Let's catch up with the chat here a little bit because I'm always the worst at this. Let's go right back to the top here and go real quick. Mike, great to see you out there, sir. I know he's on his way home. He said, on my drive home, I'm going to pop you guys on and try to watch you a little bit as I'm driving. Be careful out there, Mike. But I know LA traffic, you're probably just sitting in traffic, so probably got a little bit to go. Roy Collins. Here's a name. Richard Seymour. Hall of Famer. Richard Seymour.
Yeah.
Great name. Love it.
Yeah.
Mike saying that Tyler's mic is a little low. If you
I moved it closer
maybe...
when I saw that. So
yeah, it sounds better. It definitely sounds better. Yep, we talked about that one. Love this lineup. Joe Klecko for the Jets, Jason Taylor for the Finns, Bruce Smith for the Bills. Favorite AFC East players for me. And he did not, he did say a Pats player, Richard Seymour. Anthony, it's a pleasure to see you out there, sir. And yes, Roy Collins saying that the kickoff rule, it's a 1-year experiment, so they're going to review it again in the offseason. It could just be like how they did the pass interference challenges the 1 year, right? So maybe it's
that's a rule they should have kept.
I know, right? Yeah. Yeah. The NFL never seems to totally get it right. They always find something to kind of piss you off, right? Like
maybe that's part of the charm, though. You know, they're like the controversy kind of gets it up and going.
Oh, absolutely. For sure. You got to keep in the news. Even when another sport tries to take it, the NFL finds a way to like come in and cut them off and just totally cuck them. It's absolutely hilarious. Roy Collins. I will say the XFL, when they implemented this kickoff rule, everybody kind of laughed at it. And are they laughing now? Yeah,
I'm still laughing.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know, Roy.
It's funny because like you see stuff like this, but like the alternate leagues, usually the ones that wind up pioneering things. Like the USFL a long time ago is the one that came out with instant replay. Back during the ABA days, they invented the 3-point line.
Yeah. Wow.
Like,
even something like the 2-point conversion, college did it first.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you start to see these things.
Yeah.
You see these things in other leagues, and like it looks like a gimmick, but then they play it out, and it's like maybe this is interesting. Maybe it is ready for prime time. So like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they have to tweak it. If they have to tweak it, that's fine. But like at least they're thinking about it.
Absolutely. Anthony is an avid XFL, UFL watcher.
Oof.
Absolutely love that. Who's your team, brother? Because we have a guy, Mad Chatter, haven't seen him in a little bit, but he's a big Birmingham Stallions fan, and he's been watching them since their, I guess, reintroduction to the USFL, now the UFL. So he's a big Stallions fan. He also says he likes the Battlehawks for the XFL. So, yeah, that's great. We might have to start a UFL show. What do you think, fellas?
Count me out, Jake.
I actually did a fantasy league for the XFL when it came back in like 2020. And I was keeping track on an Excel sheet, and each week I would have the guys text me who they want to add and drop if they wanted to make changes. Hilarious.
Dude, I can't believe that you have that kind of like patience.
I know. It's disgusting. Yeah.
It is.
It really is.
I'm really desperate for football in the off season.
Oh, I'm so desperate. Like when it's done, yeah, you're just craving it. Like,
yeah,
right now, I don't listen. I just had my second child was just born. Super happy, right? But I'm just capitalizing on that happiness because now it's the greatest time of the year. Like it is in full swing. We have football every single week through February 9th. Like, think about that. Let that set in. We got college football right around the corner too. I don't know if you guys are into that, but
oh yeah,
man, it's exciting. You know, like it's just, my heart is so full. My heart is so full.
And I still find it funny how big football is when the World Series competes with the NFL. The NFL wins, even though it's regular season football.
I know,
right?
I mean, look, for me personally, Tyler, and I've said this in the past, baseball season ends when football season begins. And I'm a huge Phillies fan. I'm a massive Phillies fan. Watch them all the time. But once football season begins, I am full on into football. I'm a full blown addict, man. I need my fix.
Yeah, I start getting the shakes a little bit if I don't watch enough of it. You know, it's not good. It's really not good. But I've learned to live with it, and so has my wife, unfortunately. Let's see here. Josh Fellman, I think in a way the new kickoff rule takes away from the historical value of what those that came before have brought to the game that we all love. Yeah, I mean, you go back and watch any Dante Hall like highlight, right? Like you think of that one play against the Broncos where he has an entire return team after him and he somehow just gets out of it. He jukes back, makes a guy miss, then he does like a spin move and just takes it to the house.
Goes back like 12 or 13 yards to make guys miss.
Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Brian Mitchell, who was just Brian Mitchell always just plowed right forward.
Cordarrelle Patterson's like returns.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what he would have done in the old kickoff rules where it like wasn't a touchback every single time? That guy is the greatest kick returner of all time.
Yeah.
And he did it
Josh
through,
Cribbs.
one of the worst. Another one of my absolute favorites. Is there an angrier kick returner ever than Josh Cribbs?
Oh, I don't think
you
so.
go and watch
He's a
Josh
mean
Cribbs YouTube highlights. He's just nasty, dude. Puts his head down, just claws his way over people. Like, he's phenomenal. Go back and watch Josh Cribbs.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Hey, we said we were going to do a little nostalgia talk. Mike, we just sprinkled in, and you like that? That was pretty good. We just kind of threw it right into the mix.
Didn't even see it coming, I promise.
There we go. Let's see.
Of course, now we mentioned it. We're going to be looking out for it the rest of the time. So.
Oh, we are. No doubt. Roy Collins, remember, Nate Peterman looked good in camp too. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He looks so good he actually started.
Listen, I think that when you look back at Nathan Peterman with the Buffalo Bills, they really should have given him like an entire season. I mean, sure, he was throwing some picks, but as a Patriots fan, I think it would have been really good for the Bills to kind of embrace that and to give their defense some more time to really put things together.
Brother.
I like this guy. We should keep him around.
I got nothing but love for Nate Peterman, man. Like, I think he kind of got ran out of town. And in Buffalo, we've been voted one of the nicest cities, but I've heard some mean things that Bills fans have done and said to him directly when he was here in Buffalo. And listen, I don't want that to be a representation of us, but yeah, it brought out the worst in us for sure.
Well, look, in their defense, that was bad. That was so bad.
Can you imagine? So in Buffalo, it was bad, right? Imagine if he was starting for like the Eagles. Can you imagine how bad that would have gotten?
He wouldn't have made it out of the stadium, dude.
Yeah.
They would have stormed the field and taken him off and like, no, put somebody else in. We're done.
Yeah.
That would have been rough for sure. Here's a good question, Anthony. How many games does Mac Jones start for the Jags this year? I'm going to ask our guy, Anthony. What do you think of that one?
I actually think the over-under has to be like 0.5 because Trevor Lawrence is he's basically like a tank.
Yeah.
That dude, no matter what you've thrown at him, he just keeps getting back up.
Yeah.
And he just got paid. They aren't replacing him as a starting quarterback, no matter how bad he is.
There would have to be something catastrophic, and you don't root for something catastrophic
no.
cornerstone player.
It's either catastrophic or they're 15-1 at the end of the season, and then Mac Jones can start.
Yeah, that's the only path I see, though.
Yeah.
I can see that.
There's no Trevor Lawrence is bad and therefore Mac Jones starts.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence isn't playing himself out of the starting job. That's for sure.
Yeah. Josh says 2.
Yeah, so I take the over under at 0.5, and I take the under.
I also take the under.
Wait, hold on. Did it say start? Yeah, it did say start. If it said play, I could see him playing a little bit if they're up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter,
or down 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Or down.
Right.
You see that a lot. You see that a lot more these days than you used to. As teams will kind of swallow their pride and be like, "Okay, the game's over. We're going to try to avoid injuries." And
but if only they would have done, if only the Dolphins would have done that last year with Bradley Chubb. He got injured in that Ravens game, and
meaningless.
They were getting absolutely boat raced in that game. Bradley Chubb had no business being in there, and then tears his ACL. It was just the perfect end to a perfect day.
That's brutal, man. Just brutal. Here we go. Another question. Yeah.
Zach Kuntz. He is tight end 4. The updates are he's still tight end 4.
Man,
he's
freak athlete.
Absolute freak athlete. And if you want to go back and watch his Old Dominion tapes, a lot of fun. He's the only receiver that they had. So if they played somebody in Division 1, they just threw him the ball 27 times. But it's Old Dominion for a reason.
Yeah.
7th round pick. He's not.
Mike's been in on that guy for a while, though, Anthony.
He has. He's a guy that Mike likes. Mike is a secret Raz fan.
He is. He also loved Andre Osavas too. That was one of his favorite receiver targets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he a huge fan of Jelani West the year before? Ooh. Or Jelani Woods?
That's Jelani Woods, tight end for the Colts. Yeah, that's a nice name. I'm sure he was.
9.99 RAS guy. Yeah.
Spencer Brown, 9.99 RAS score as well. Believe it or not. Good stuff. Yeah, really. He's athletic enough where he could probably make the switch
Yeah.
And, at a certain point, I got to say, he was not looking so great at right tackle. So I was all for, like, what do we do with this guy? He's too tall to play guard.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe tight end was probably the most
He
logical
just had his
option
best
after that.
season, so
He did. He did. We're onward and upward with him for sure. Josh saying Cleveland has the best of those three teams, referring to the Brandon Ayuk,
Yeah.
I guess, destination.
It's the best of them, but I think they're also the most all-in team right now.
I also think
got,
Cleveland's the worst destination right now. Like, it can be a better team, but if you're looking to sign like a 4 or 5 year deal, I don't know if you want to attach the first 3 years of that deal to the Deshaun Watson contract.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe I'm just
also been said
biased,
that, it's also been said that if Cleveland does accept the deal, then they're going to be trading Amari Cooper away along with it.
They just like locked Amari Cooper in for this year. They just guaranteed everything. They basically have to pay his entire salary this year.
Yeah, it made me raise my eyebrows, Anthony. But I did see that they're going to trade Amari Cooper if they bring in Brandon Ayuk. Kind of defeats the point, doesn't it?
And not just that, they would have to eat like $20 million.
Yeah,
they can't afford to do that. They can't do that and sign Brandon Ayuk. It's just not going to happen. It's too much of a rumor. I think that them locking up Amari Cooper is them basically saying this is the team that they have.
That would make sense. Yeah.
And
I'll tell you what, dude.
Go ahead.
Amari Cooper does not get enough credit for how consistent he has been.
Yeah. He's
a good receiver.
He's a good player.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's sad.
What's funny about Amari Cooper is that like he gets no credit, but everybody keeps looking at Jerry Jeudy like we did Jerry Jeudy wrong. Yeah. They both went to Alabama. They were both the same kind of receiver. They get open type, outside guy that wasn't going to be a super physical outside like receiver. And Amari Cooper's had a fantastic career and been underrated. And Jerry Jeudy's had a terrible career, and everybody keeps thinking he's going to do something.
They're like, we should pay this man. I mean, he's obviously going to be a great receiver, and then he goes out onto the field and he looks like
wide receiver 4.
Yeah, some like journeyman. Yeah. They're like, oh, he's getting that minimum at least.
Gets outplayed by Courtland Sutton. Gets outplayed by KJ Hamler. Gets outplayed by basically everybody else they brought into that team, and whatever. Anyway, no more crapping on Jerry Jeudy. The world's already done enough.
Yeah. What is it? Squeaky wheel gets the oil. Seems to be the case with him.
That should be his nickname, Squeaky Wheel.
Right? Yeah. Anthony Pinzone. Feel like my team gets replaced all the time talking about the UFL, XFL. He was a Memphis Showboats fan. Okay, let's go. Very nice. Did you guys ever watch the World Bowl football or the World Football League back in like the 90s? There was the London Monarchs, and there were some great teams. Yeah.
You know who was the president of that league?
No, who was?
Andrew Luck's dad.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did know that. Yeah. Oliver Luck. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right.
Oh, yeah. The Miami Miracle, just saying. Jumbo Elliott.
Oh God!
Actually,
that game was a Miami. I do remember that game. I watched that game live. I remember my father went to bed at halftime.
That's not the miracle for Miami, though, right? That's Jumbo Elliott in the end zone for a touchdown. Was that against the Dolphins?
Same game.
It was, right?
It was. Yeah. That game, I still have PTSD from that game. Honestly,
I woke my dad up at 11 o'clock in the game. At 11 o'clock in the morning, or at night, I woke my father up like, "Hey, they won." Sound asleep. Went to sleep at it.
Crazy game.
I couldn't believe the Dolphins lost that game. The Miami Miracle, however, was the game against the Patriots, and
the kickoff and Drake.
I remember that miracle. That's why.
I remember being really happy when that happened, Josh. And then, but we need to remember, we need to keep this in perspective. That was the last game the Dolphins won that season, and that was the last game the Patriots lost that season.
Yeah,
just keeping things in perspective.
It was a really good moment to be a Dolphins fan, I think. But
it was
won the Super Bowl, and the Dolphins
moments are fleeting.
The playoffs.
As evidenced by that moment.
I forget exactly what the draft positioning was, but I'm pretty sure that loss was pretty significant, or that win was pretty significant for the draft positioning.
It was.
Yeah.
So
it was. I mean, the Dolphins, I got that one fleeting moment and then, got screwed the rest of the season into the draft.
Well, that was what 2022 and 2023
But you know what?
were
That's
for
what being a Dolphins fan's all about.
I was going to say, this is doggone it. Yeah. So I was going to say, wasn't Gronk in on that too?
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
on that play, right?
Well,
Yeah.
because
Didn't have the angle.
Bill had Gronk in like the safety position, because when you have a Hail Mary, you want to have someone who can catch the ball, and Gronk obviously is enormous and really good at catching touchdowns.
Right.
But the problem with putting Gronk in is there's no way Ryan Tannehill is going to throw a 60-yard bomb into the end zone. It's just not going to happen, right? So
Yeah.
it was just kind of one of those things where you really, if Bill had thought about it for like 5 seconds more, maybe the Dolphins don't even win that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, really. Let's see. Anthony's saying, I don't think Lawrence is very good, but you're right, that staff's going down with the ship if it sinks, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's pivot here. Let's talk about this, because the NFL 100 top 100 list was released. Trevor Lawrence did fall on that list. I think he was in the 90s, but this reminds me, because I wanted to get to this at one point here, and I didn't know how to really transition into it. The number one player on that top 100 list, Tyreek Hill, he just got paid, Keith. He just got paid. Massive contract. What is it? And it's still the same amount of years, right? It's just a higher amount of money. 3 years,
Well, no, it's
90
actually
million?
the same amount of money per year as well.
Just more guaranteed, right?
Just more guaranteed, and it's a team friendly deal for the Dolphins, and it gives Tyreek a little bit of security moving forward. And I'm not going to bring up his baby mamas here or anything like that. What I am going to say is that Tyreek Hill is a 30-year-old receiver, soon to be 31, who needs to be who's probably looking at the mortality of his NFL life. He's probably thinking, I'm not going to be playing forever. My game is predicated on speed, and my speed isn't going to last forever. So I need to kind of strike while the iron's hot, maybe not demand a Justin Jefferson type of contract, or demand a type of contract that CeeDee Lamb is currently demanding from the Dallas Cowboys. Take a little bit less, get a little bit of security, and kind of run this back a little bit. It was a smart move by Tyreek and his team, and it was a smart move by the Dolphins to a smart-ish move by the Dolphins to lock up Tyreek. They got him at less than market value, and he is the number one player in the NFL. I'm not going to say I agree with that. I still think it should have been Mahomes. But he was the number one player in the NFL, and he could have brought that to the bargaining table and said, I'm the number one player in the NFL. Now pay me like it. But he didn't, to his credit. So it was a good deal all around for everybody.
I mean, when was the last time you legitimately thought that a receiver could win MVP? Was it like the Kelvin Johnson season when he had 1,964 yards? Outside of that, Tyreek Hill has
Michael Thomas was pretty close that one year, I think.
Michael Thomas, that's fair.
Yeah, that was the last time it was like somewhat like that was the last time it was given serious thought, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe like Michael Thomas.
We were talking back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons. And listen, I don't love Tyreek Hill, but he's a hell of a football player, man. And absolutely top 5 should have been top 5 for sure on that list. Number 1, I didn't totally agree with. I'm kind of with you on that, Keith. I'll admit, Pat Mahomes probably should have been number 1 on that list.
Yeah.
But,
or
CMC, honestly. Maybe even CMC should have been number 1 on that list.
It just creates headlines if you don't put the best player in the NFL at number 1. That gets people talking about it more. Rather than, okay, Mahomes was number 1. What else is new, Roll your eyes and move on with your life. Well, they put Tyreek number 1, and now people are talking about the list. They put Mahomes at number 4, and now people are especially talking about the list. Like, who the hell finished above Patrick Mahomes?
Well, people are really pissed off in Buffalo having Josh Allen at 12. I'm one of them. I think that is criminal that he's at 12. That's insane to me. Absolutely insane. I mean, name me 11 other guys that are better. I'm just saying. You don't have to put him at number 1.
Wait. Actually, I bet I can do it. Let's see. You got Mahomes, Hill, Justin Jefferson, Burrow.
JJ was underrated too. He was at like 18. That was ridiculous.
We're not talking about that.
Burrow doesn't work, Tyler. Burrow didn't play last year.
Well, he's still a football player, so we're gonna go with it. And otherwise, it's harder to name 12 players if I can't name Burrow.
Miles Garrett.
Yeah, exactly. Miles Garrett.
That's earlier.
Donald retired. That makes it harder. I would take Nick Bosa, but not Joey Bosa. That's 6.
I think Trent Williams.
I don't.
Yeah,
Sure.
I guess
We're really
Trent
grasping
Williams,
straws right now, aren't
I don't
we?
think
boys?
we
You're
are. I
trying
think
really
Trent
hard,
Williams-
though. I'm just saying that's my point, right? Like,
I think
Well, it just
it's not
seems-
easy. We're talking about a league with 2,500 people in it, and there's only maybe
Herbert.
11 guys
I would
definitely
take
better.
Herbert. I would take Herbert
Whoa,
over Josh
whoa.
Allen.
No.
For sure.
Come
No,
on, Tyler.
not Herbert.
I would.
No.
Herbert
Herbert's
just-
always hurt. Speaking of Herbert, he's hurt again.
Yeah,
he
playing
is
fast.
not playing in the preseason. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Justin Herbert has an incredible arm. I would definitely put him as a top 5 quarterback. I'd put him right, probably number 5. Him or Matt Stafford at number 5. But
I wouldn't even do
Matt
that.
Stafford.
can't. Yeah, I can't put him over Josh. No way, man. I could see maybe the argument for Joe Burrow because he's beat Josh Allen head to head. He's the only one that's really taken down Mahomes in a meaningful game. So sure, I can give you that, right? But
I think Burrow's game is
even
just
Lamar.
So much, like Burrow's arm isn't like quite as good, but I think his game is
Yeah.
just so much like cleaner than Allen's. When you look at it, it looks like kind of a classic quarterback in that.
Yeah,
style.
no, he's very traditional, but drop back quarterback.
True.
Like the only real traditional drop back quarterback that we even have in the NFL these days. That's like completely immobile. That like just makes things happen with his arm and his head. Maybe
Yeah.
Tua's in that way to a degree, but like
Yeah.
Burrow
Yeah.
is the classic 6'3", 6'4",
Yeah.
drop back and just hit your
Just
shots.
throw it.
Yeah.
I love this. Brett, good to see you out there, brother. Let me go to the comments actually, because I did see that I missed a few here. Brett is our other Buffalo Bills rep. Back me up on this. I know you said 11 other guys that are better. I love these names. These are incredible names. 11 other NFL guys that are better, Brett. I don't think you could do it. I think you would argue with me. Obviously, we're biased. We're Bills fans. So, of course, we're going to stick up for our guy. We're going to go to war for him. But, yeah, I definitely think he's criminally underrated on that list. Doggone it. So, Brett and I are rotating. So, this is the AFC East Summit show. So, we have a rep from each of the AFC East Summit team or each of the AFC East teams. And the Bills reps, we have multiple Bills reps, multiple Pats reps. But I think we're one of one with Dolphins and Jets. So, but yeah, we rotate on and off with this one. But great to see you out there. Welcome to the show, sir.
There was a
What else do we
question
have?
There was a question earlier about whether the Pats could win more than 5 games.
Oh, I
I
did
think-
see that. Yeah. Let's answer
And
that one.
I think if they do, it's pretty much purely because we play the AFC South. And I don't think it'll happen. I think 5 is
Yeah.
the ceiling for this team. But if it does, it'll be because we like go and like beat Jacksonville and London or something, something stupid like that, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Brett, the new Pats rep, his name is Tyler. He's a great young man. From what I've also heard, Tyler, you are like a mastermind when it comes to like the cap situation in the NFL. Anthony has told me some great things about your knowledge and working with it and knowledge of contracts and how it all kind of works. So we will definitely be going to you a lot more for questions like that.
Absolutely.
I know how to manipulate the cap. That's my some bread and butter there.
Now, so Anthony kind of told me a little bit about like you guys' league. Like obviously you all represent your teams and whatnot. You do like a draft and all that, and you manage that franchise. So what year are you guys on with that?
This is year I think we're in
Year 4.
4. Yeah, year
Yeah.
4.
Wow.
We started in 2021, so it was 21, 22, 23, now it's 24.
That's awesome. So you guys are current day then. That's great.
Yeah. We go along with the seasons and everything.
Yeah. That's awesome.
He's
Let's see what else.
obviously the are you the GM or the owner of the Pats?
I'm the GM, but I function more like the owner.
Yeah. I'm the GM of the Jets. So
We have a good time. We go back and forth with our games.
I love it, man. See, that's the stuff I'm all about too. Like the nitty-gritty details like that. That is
Actually,
just fun.
I
My
remember
language.
Johnny, who's the owner of the Jets in that league. Me and him, we made a bet. I think it was last year, or the year before, where the loser of one of our games had to spend an entire week in that server just speaking with Joe Biden gifts.
That's awesome.
And I lost that game, so I spent an entire week. The only message I could send were just Joe Biden.
That's hilarious. I love that. That's awesome. Josh Feldman, Andre Johnson for Houston. Yeah, hey, shout out to Andre Johnson going in the Hall of Fame. I think he is the only receiver in NFL history to have consecutive 100-plus catch and 1,500-plus yard seasons for the same team, or 3 such seasons for the same franchise. Only guy ever. Think about that. Like, this is Jerry Rice didn't do that with the Niners. Like, Tyreek Hill could do it this year with the Dolphins potentially, but like that is an unbelievable stat. Yeah. And I mean, with the quarterbacks that Andre Johnson played with, no disrespect to Matt Schaub, he was really the only Pro Bowl guy that played with him. And Matt Schaub was really a Pro Bowler because of Andre Johnson, most likely, right? Like, pretty incredible career for him. And that size and speed.
Yeah. What I loved about Andre Johnson was, in an era of wide receivers being divas and Terrell Owens working out on his front in his driveway and Randy Moss and his antics, you have a guy like Andre Johnson who just kind of quietly went about his business and just did his thing. It was great to see. And was that his first year of eligibility?
Yeah. Second.
Okay. All right.
Second year. Yeah.
So, it's well-deserved either way. Andre Johnson was one of the best receivers for one of the most kind of franchise for one of the franchises that nobody really thinks of all that much.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that franchise was plagued with horrible decisions for their first decade, really. Yeah. They lucked into the Matt Schaub deal because like they made the trade with Atlanta 5 seconds before before Atlanta found out that Michael Vick got arrested for the dog fighting.
Yep.
It was the same offseason.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Wow. Like, what a fleece.
If that had happened at any other time, they would have never gotten Matt Schaub because Atlanta obviously would have held on to him and they had a playoff roster.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's wild. Holy cow.
Then it was that year that they tanked. They got the Matt Ryan deal. Matt Ryan came in as a rookie, and that roster was set to explode. So
they were so good.
He had a very good rookie year and a very good career all in all. But like all of that only happened because they dealt Matt Schaub right before Michael Vick was caught.
And that was during the Bobby Petrino scandal and all that stuff too. Bobby Petrino saying to Arthur Blank, "You have a head coach," and then
14 games in, I'm out. Yeah, crazy, man.
He didn't even say bye to the team either. Didn't even say bye to the team either. Was the funny thing. He just like up and gone.
How does that guy continue to get jobs? Like he's the coach. He's still coaching. How is he? I think he is. I'm pretty sure he is. Is he with Louisville right now?
Definitely wasn't until recently. I mean, I think that the key thing is as long as you coach college, he's like a grown man talking to college students, and you can kind of get away with a lot more. Where if he ever goes to like an NFL team again, the players are going to look at him and be like, "What are you doing here?"
He'll never go to the NFL again. He'll never work in the NFL again. He's the
Louisville was 2018. My bad. Yeah, he's OC for Arkansas. I was just going to say, Keith. My bad. Yeah, but he's back with Arkansas. How did they bring him back after being there? Didn't he get fired from Arkansas because he had like a motorcycle accident, but he was caught with like a staffer and he's having an affair with his wife? There's a whole, like, what are we? Crazy, dude. Crazy. He must be the greatest manipulator with words of all time. He has to be.
I gotta say, the name Bobby Petrino is a perfect name for that type of behavior. It just feels right.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yeah,
it's like there's this guy who just fleeces teams. He like gets hired when he doesn't deserve to be. He just goes off and does his own thing and violates all the ethics. And what's his name? Bobby Petrino. Yeah.
Adds up.
Petrino Gate just comes right off the tongue.
It does. It does. Oh yeah. Yep. Love this. I thought the Kelvin Benjamin Bills season he could have won MVP. I'm assuming that's what you're saying here, Brett, but he's one Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end. That's the greatest quote that Boog has ever had. That one and what you do in the dark always comes to light. Those are the two greatest quotes that Booger McFarland has ever aired on the airwaves, and we'll never forget. Love it. Anthony says majority of votes came in during November, December when Tyreek was putting up 150 a week. Yeah, most likely. That would make sense. Hoblin Herbie. I love that. Listen, I think Justin Herbert has so much potential. I am curious to see what he does in this new offense because it's a Greg Roman offense, which they're known for running the football, ground and pound. I mean, are they going to be running option with Justin Herbert? Like, it's going to be a weird look, I feel like. But they have to utilize it.
just giving Justin Herbert a good offensive line and a consistent run game, I think will be enough to open up the pass game.
Yeah. Well, I heard
People
Ladd
forget-
McConkey.
People forget Justin Herbert still doesn't have a winning record as a starting quarterback.
Wild.
Just tossing that out there before you
I don't think
start
you can
talking
blame
about
him for
top
the guy.
5 Justin Herbert. Man still doesn't have a winning record as a quarterback.
Did
I mean,
Josh
quarterback
Allen have a winning-
records are-
How
That goes
long did
that
it take
goes
Josh
back to
Allen to have a
college
winning
as well,
record?
boys.
But how long did it take Josh Allen to have a winning record in the NFL?
Well, not that long. I mean,
Josh Allen's had a winning record every year except his rookie year.
yeah.
Did he really have a winning
Didn't take
record?
Josh Allen that long. Justin Herbert's been in the league for long
Oh, yeah.
enough. And this dates back to college. This isn't just an NFL thing where he's on a bad football team. I'm not saying Justin Herbert's a bad quarterback. I'm saying maybe he's not as much of a winner as people think he is.
Well, I love it too, Keith, because it always goes down in history, right? It was between him or Tua.
Yep.
Who would you take as your quarterback? And who right now you look at their 2 careers, and Tua does have a winning record. I mean, Tua's done some great things, right? So you got to feel pretty good about that, considering.
Absolutely.
So, maybe not as talented as Justin Herbert, right? But what he's done, I think, better, obviously, in terms of wins, actually getting to the playoffs, doing a lot of things. Everything you'd really want in a quarterback. Best quarterback since Dan Marino for your franchise.
Absolutely.
Gotta love it. Yep.
guys are
Aaron
all
Rodgers is
having-
on the list. What's that? Sorry, Tyler.
I was gonna say, you guys are out here having like renaissances with your franchises. You're all having a wonderful time, and then we're like in the basement. It's a
You know
role
what?
reversal.
It was due. You guys ran the AFC East for 20 some odd years, and I was praying for this day, right? It's finally here. But watch, give it a couple seasons. You guys might be back. You just never
We'll
know.
be back. We'll be back.
Yeah, this is wild. Aaron Rodgers on the list. Only played, 4 snaps the whole season.
Aaron Rodgers needed to shut up last season. He got injured, and then he spent the entire season being like, maybe I'll be back in week 16.
Oh, it's
Ooh.
crazy.
And then
Yeah.
now it's like, maybe I can't practice during the preseason. Ooh.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll go off to Egypt and take some peyote in the desert.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, wrong
Ayahuasca.
desert, Keith. Wrong desert for peyote.
Yeah, definitely the wrong desert for that, for sure. Crazy part is Tua has a better record than Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. Very interesting stat. Yeah, I do feel like Tua is not really given enough credit. I definitely, I don't think he is really ever mentioned. I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback. We're not saying he's the best quarterback in the NFL, but what he's done has got to mean something. And for him just to not get that recognition, but then guys like, maybe you throw Justin Herbert on that list, Dak Prescott, like Kirk Cousins, even they have not done as much in terms of wins. And I will say, I think coaching obviously has kind of screwed them over a little bit more. I think Tua is in a better situation that way, but you make a good point here.
I think also
For
maybe
sure.
maybe it's just me being like a self-centered Pats fan, but I think one of the things that might be holding Tua back, like in the public perception at least, is people kept comparing him to Mac Jones, at least in division from what I remember. I don't know if you guys saw any of that, but in Patriots media, that was something that happened sometimes on social media, especially. And obviously it's just not flattering at all to be thought of in the same breath as Mac Jones these days.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
that's
201, every game Tua played Mac Jones 201, and then you still have people arguing about it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
How about this one? Connor Williams just signed with Seattle.
That's not something I'm very happy about. I
Yeah,
want
that's a
to
bummer, huh?
come back to the Dolphins.
Yeah. $5. Oh, yeah. So we used to have this thing. Whenever we said the word potential, we would have to donate $5 to a jar because we were just talking about the Bills' potential and how their potential, how they'd go up in the ranks or how they would be in the NFL. So yeah, $5. You're right, Brett. We're back on that train. 63-31 record for JA17, Tyler. How are we feeling about that?
I mean, what's his record against Tom Brady?
Actually, that's a good question. I don't think he actually ever did win a game against Tom Brady. Now that I think about it,
Don't know.
yeah, you're right.
What can I
Although
say?
we've been killing the Pats lately. I know you guys don't have Tom Brady, but a win is a win.
Hey,
We did lose a
we
really
won,
weird one to you guys, though.
we
this year.
won one game when only throwing 3 passes, and that's good enough for me. Just because of how
That's
funny
true.
that stat is.
That is disgusting. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
Damian
was in
Harris had
Buffalo.
himself a day.
The funny thing is
Yeah.
that was in Buffalo too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
It was so horrendous. What a
That was-
travesty
yeah.
against
it
modern
was really
football.
fun. It was really fun to watch, though, as a Pats fan.
As a Pats fan,
because-
sure, it was a crime against modern
That's-
football.
Dude, it was so frustrating. Like,
That's what
just
they call
It
Super
was
Bowl
terrible.
tearing
50.
my hair out.
Horrendous.
You're sitting there like, why are you trying to throw the ball? This is obviously not whether you can throw the ball in. And the Bills are like, let's do a screen.
I think that same season, like week 1, it was the Bears and the Niners playing in Chicago.
Yep.
And it was another one of
Oh,
those,
yeah.
like both quarterbacks had like 35% completion percentage.
Was it?
Oh, yeah.
Bears and-
That was
What
Trey
it
Lance.
was, so-
was it Washington?
Trey Lance
Didn't they
starting
also-
for the
Dude.
49ers.
yeah, it's Trey Lance against
So
Justin
bad.
Fields.
Oh yeah, that
Oh.
one.
Just horrendous.
That reminds me of the old win game when Nathan Vasher took a kickoff to the house against the Niners. It's always the Bears and Niners. They always have these horrendous, like, bad weather games against each other. I don't know what it is. It's hilarious. But anyways, enough talk about that, boys. Let's head into week 1 of the preseason here. I know we are a little bit on a time limit. Keith has to go to work. Keith, are you still working at the same time, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to make sure we get through this. All right. So
All right.
I'm going to go right into this. We're going to start with Tyler because your game is the first one on the docket of week 1 of the NFL preseason. So let's talk a little bit about this. What are you expecting? I guess, have you heard on like guys that are going to play, guys that aren't going to play? What do you want to see from this matchup? Panthers and Patriots. Go ahead.
I just want to see a lot of like the newer players I guess we have on the roster and just see what they do in games because there's good talk about like Polk and Baker, especially the 2 wide receiver rookies. They love them. Seeing I guess how Kendrick Bourne is doing returning from injury. Hopefully we see Drake May. I'd love to see Drake May.
Yeah.
And I guess also we didn't add too much to the defense this year, but I guess like the primary thing on defense that I'm looking at least is if Christian Gonzalez looks good because he looked great starting last year, and then tore his ACL I think it was.
Yep.
And so that's just those are my concerns really. Seeing how the new offense looks, seeing how the new receivers look, and then seeing how Gonzalez looks specifically in the defense.
Yeah, he looked like a potential defensive rookie of the year last year, like up
Yeah.
until his injury. He looked legit, man. You guys definitely got a good one in him, and hopefully he recovered well from the ACL injury. You know, obviously, high draft
My
pick, a lot of P word. I was almost going to say it again. I just dropped like 15 P words before that, so I'm not going to say it anymore.
My only fear is that the change in coaching staff may have disrupted it because obviously Bill Belichick's like probably the greatest coach of all time at getting corners and just training them up to be amazing. And
That's true. Yeah.
without Bill, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. Here we go. Hey, the Bills guys are chirping you now, Tyler. Look what you started. What was Mac Jones' record versus Josh Allen?
It was at least
Yikes.
1 and something. Let me
Yeah, he did get one win, just
Yeah, he
in
got-
that
he got
win
one.
game. Yeah.
let me make sure.
Oh, we
I
did
can
have that
fact check
perfect
this.
game. I'm gonna move you
Well,
up here,
yeah,
actually.
but we don't count that one. Obviously, it's a wild card. The Patriots just aren't used to playing playoff games in the wild card round. Okay, we're used to getting the playoff bye.
That's fair.
We get to take
fair.
a week off, and they just thought they had to bye. They were taking a week off. Okay, you can't judge us. Old habits die hard.
Unbelievable, man. I had met a guy in the Massachusetts airport, and we were talking about that. And he's like, "Yeah, I book a vacation wild card weekend every year because I know I won't have to worry about watching my team here at home." I'm like, "That is crazy. What a dumb life. Disgusting." Doggone it, asks Tyler, what is Matt Judon's record of getting injured against the Bills? I will say Matt Judon, while he is so disruptive against so many other teams in the NFL, we seem to get under his skin a little bit. So
Yeah, I don't
let's
know.
keep on
Matt-
that. I love that.
Matt Judon always looks.
Is he
good
even going to
early
be
in
on the
season.
Patriots this year?
Yeah. That's a good
Probably.
question, too. What's the
Yeah.
deal with him and Gerard Mayo? They seem like they are just clashing a little bit.
I don't know. It's like some money issue too. I personally I wouldn't give Judon a pay raise because in multiple seasons now he's either fallen off at the end or gotten injured, and you pay guys that are good edge rushers because they're going to have impact the whole time. They're not just going to have impact for the first half of the season and then be gone.
Yeah.
So like I love Judon, obviously. He's like been a great player, and it's amazing to watch him, especially early in seasons. But it just hasn't the impact hasn't been there, honestly. So
Yeah.
We'll see.
These
I'm
guys
trying
are
to
wishing
find-
ill will on their Pats right now, Tyler.
If he goes 0-40 against the Bills, he's in the league for 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take it, dude.
I would
If
say
he
that's a
loses every
success.
game- yeah,
That's
I hope so
true.
too. How about that? Yeah, let's do it.
We walked into that one, doggone it. $30 now. Oh man, they are keeping track. This is not good. It's got to be more than 30. Josh Feldman said I dropped like 15 in one sentence, which I think I did. So I'm trying my best not to say it anymore because now I'm very aware of it. Brett says Tyler has so many excuses. Well, Brett, listen, you're gonna have to talk to him once you guys go live at some point here.
Trying to find Mac Jones's career record against the Bills, but it's hard to find.
I hear more excuses from my wife. That guy's wife gets a lot of headaches, eh?
Uh-oh. So does mine. I'm right there with you.
Chronic migraines. What can you do?
Yeah. I'm the third kid though. That's the
You
problem.
don't have to prove any more bona fides. You've got 2 kids.
Yeah, that's true. Tyler needs to go to Walgreens. I don't know what that means, Brett.
Walgreens. Oh.
I do not know
All
what
right,
that
next
means.
matchup. Who do we got?
Yes. Yeah, next matchup. Real quick, was that it? Do you have a prediction or anything like that? You want to give us a score prediction? I know it's preseason, but I love the preseason.
Let's do like
give me like a breakout player and a score prediction.
Let's do breakout player Javon Baker, score prediction like 24-21 Patriots.
Love it.
Something generic like that. I don't think there'll be much effort on either side.
Okay. All right.
Well, like effort in individual performance, obviously, but like it's a preseason game against the Panthers, so
yeah. I gotcha. Okay. Next up, we got the Falcons at Dolphins Friday night, 7 p.m. under the lights, baby.
Yeah.
Heath.
Yeah. So these 2 teams have already started joint practices today.
Mm-hmm.
And the Dolphins, from what I heard, absolutely dominated those joint practices. In the Falcons' first 8 offensive plays, they got a total of 8 yards. And from what I heard, the Dolphins' offense did really well against the Falcons' defense. It was a good day overall for the Dolphins. So, what I'm predicting, well, first and foremost, it's week 1 of the preseason. None of the starters are going to play. So, let's just throw that out there right now. So, as far as breakout players go, I'm looking at a guy named Ethan Bonner for the Dolphins. He was an undrafted free agent out of Stanford last year. And he, again, he's shown himself to be, they say he's the 3rd fastest guy on the roster behind Devon Achane and Tyreek Hill. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's ever been tested, but the guy obviously has some athleticism. He had a really nice practice today against the Falcons. And I'm kind of looking at him to potentially, there's that word potential. No, there's.
See, even you're doing it. I love it.
To potentially be the 3rd cornerback for the Dolphins. Now, you have your starters on the outside in Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller. You have your slot guys in Cater Kohu and Nick Needham. What the Dolphins need is a backup guy on the outside. And I was hoping Cam Smith could fill that role, but Cam Smith he didn't have a great mini camp and then he got hurt. And he hasn't really come back to full-time practices yet in training camp. So I have to look elsewhere for a guy who's going to be number 3 cornerback. Now, ideally, I'd like for the Dolphins to take their almost $35 million in cap space right now and maybe go kick the tires on Xavier Howard or Stephon Gilmore. But if they're not going to do that, they have answers in-house in guys like Ethan Bonner, who kind of got a redshirt season for them last year. Let's see what he can do in this preseason game. So I want him to start, and I want him to play at least the first half just to see what this kid has, see if he can hold his own out there. As far as score predictions, I don't know. I don't care. It's the first week of the preseason. Who gives a damn?
I love that. Just very blunt. Spot on. Yeah, Josh, by the way, the comment thing, I was looking to see if we can do a different layout. We may have to customize it somehow, but for whatever reason, I can't move us to the right-hand side. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. So yeah, unfortunately, We'll just make sure that whoever's talking is, well, I guess I'm the one talking right now, but is not covered up by a comment. But I do like your prediction here. He says big games from Chop, Bonner, Wright, Paul, and Washington. So we talked a little bit about Malik Washington being the best slot receiver in this class. Like, this dude caught so many passes last season, over 1,400 yards at Virginia, put up insane stats, and has the ability, I was almost going to say the P word, he has the ability to be a future starter for your team and can really do some special things for you guys. So,
and Anthony,
so long, Julian Hill
as well. Julian Hill is a great blocker, and he, as far as, so I've been pounding the table for the Dolphins to bring in a tight end who can do both things, and I don't know that Julian Hill is that adept of a wide receiver just yet. And this is why I was so excited about the Jonnu Smith signing, because Jonnu Smith can block and he can receive. Julian Hill, he's great on running plays, and he's going to do. He's already a really great blocker for the position. What they need to do is they need to develop his receiving skills in order to make him a complete tight end. That's what the Dolphins really need for this offense, is a complete tight end.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys really haven't had that. I mean, even Mike Gesicki, there was a reason why he didn't last there. He wasn't able to block and do the things that Mike McDaniel wanted him to do. So it would be nice for you guys to finally.
And then Durham Smythe came in last year. Good blocker, not a great receiver. Now they have Jonnu Smith that can do a little bit of both, and that's kind of ideal for the Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan offense. And if you need any more evidence of that, look what George Kittle does for the Kyle Shanahan offense. He absolutely wrecks teams because he can block, he can receive. He's a complete tight end. That's what the Dolphins need. Not just a blocker, not just a receiver.
You know, I used to like Jonnu Smith. Then he came out and had some comments about buffalo wings, and I'm feeling some type of way about him. Maybe he's just trying to get under our skin, but he succeeded. So I'm not very happy with him right now, but he is a good football player that I think has been underutilized. And Tyler, talk about it, because you guys had him for a little bit.
I also used to like Jonnu Smith, and he came in and was kind of mediocre for the Patriots. Didn't really do much. Didn't really make himself worth this contract. Obviously he had Matt Patricia. You deal with Matt Patricia, so it's not entirely his fault. But still, even Hunter Henry looked okay. So, good luck.
Hunter Henry looked back. Like, he looked all the way back towards the end of the year last year for you guys. I don't know how you felt about it, but it seemed like he was starting to get back to where he was like his first year with the Pats, where he caught like 9 touchdown passes.
That first year was amazing. I missed 2021, man. That was a good year.
You guys did have a very surprising, like, solid season that year. I feel like you guys were ready to take the next step, and then it just kind of all.
We were very happy as a fan base. It was a very good time to be a Heads fan, because it was, we were bad for 1 year, and look who's back.
I know. Crazy.
Guys, I have to run. I'm sorry. I have to get out of here tonight.
A little early.
But you guys have a nice night, and I will see you next week.
You too. Take care, brother. All right, let's go to the next matchup here. We will talk about the Washington Commanders at New York Football Jets, Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Anth, what are we looking for in this matchup?
Oh, so what I've heard is that Jaden Daniels is going to be starting for the Washington Commanders.
I did see that. Yeah.
Oh, you gonna die, son.
Oh, against that D-line. It doesn't matter what group of D-line you put up against it. That's tough.
You're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. Obviously, Jaden is definitely playing. They have all but confirmed it. So, I'm going to be looking for, let's see what the rotation at defensive line looks like. Supposedly, Michael Clemens is winning early on over Will McDonald, which is utterly hilarious. I'm sorry. Like,
that's crazy. What?
Weird pick to begin with. Then the story comes out. He tried to put on weight over the offseason, couldn't put on anything. And it's like, bro, did you just not eat? Like, what's going on here? Like,
putting on weight is like the easiest thing ever in the modern world.
It's pretty easy these days, but
really,
you do it unintentionally. You don't have to try.
No, the whole thing is like, dude, if you're not taking your diet seriously, first off, I don't like the idea of drafting a dude with the intention of like making him a different player. That already seems kind of sus to me. I understand you get stronger in the offseason, but like taking a dude that's 235 pounds and being like, let's just throw 30 pounds on him and just, I'm sure he'll keep all of his speed and all of his athleticism, but be 25 or 30 pounds heavier. Okay, fine. Let Bryce Huff walk. Sure. Trade for Hassan Reddick. Why not? Like all of these things that they did along the way to get them to the situation is really weird. So anyway, let's see what the defensive line situation looks like. The rotation looks like. On offense, it's probably going to be the Tyrod Taylor show is my expectation. We'll see some Shanu. That'll be sweet. Probably see some Jeremy Ruckert out of the backfield. Maybe even see a little bit of Tyler Conklin. They're definitely not going to play in Breece Hall. So we'll probably get to see a little Braylon Allen. And then Izzy Abanikanda and Isaiah Davis. We'll see those guys as well. And supposedly Quintez Stiggers has been incredible. He was a 5th round pick out of like the USFL or something like that, or a Canadian football league. So like, we'll see what that looks like. Score prediction, I have absolutely no idea. I just want like to see the team come out healthy.
Yeah,
like, that's all. I just want to see
no injuries.
Healthy.
Yeah, please no injuries.
Yeah,
please no injuries. Yeah, that'll be fun to watch just because of the Jaden Daniels thing potentially happening. I said it again. And then obviously it's fun to see the first look of the team, right? So it's always exciting. Always exciting. The New Jersey Jets, yes, they are the answer to that trivia question. Brett asks, what team, just trying to rub some salt into the wound right now. What team has the longest playoff drought across all 4 major sports? And yes, I think the answer to that is the Jets.
Yeah, it's always fun when somebody like brings that one up because it's like, okay, yeah, that's true. They do. Is it the longest ever? No, I think the Lions had like 28 years or 30 years or something like that. So
I mean, the Bills had 17, so you know.
Well, luckily, Anthony, whenever a Bills fan comes to you and they're like, "Hey, have you been to the playoffs?" You go, "Hey, have you won a championship?" And then they kind of wilt and die.
Hold on, we have won a championship, the AFL championship in 1965.
Yeah, that counts.
That's it. In 64.
Don't worry. Yeah, you can hang a banner for that.
I was not even a thought. My dad was 5 years old then. I was not even in this world, in this lifetime.
No banner the Bills hang can be as bad as the one the Colts hung for being the 2015 AFC finalists when they got ran over like 45 to 17 or something. That's hilarious. Yeah. They hung a banner for that.
I mean, the only thing that's worse than that is this Cleveland Browns team still holding up records from the old Cleveland Browns team.
Yeah, I mean, that is worse, I think. Yeah.
There we go, Weston. Thank you for tuning in. That was me, Jake, for the longest time. LOL, we won Super Bowl 4. By the way, Tyler, Weston is a Chiefs fan. So he's a good Chiefs fan. He's one of the good ones. You know what? I haven't met many bad Chiefs fans. Most of the Chiefs fans that come on our channel, too, they've always been very supportive, and they love watching Bills content. I don't know what it is, but we seem to gravitate that fan base a little bit, and they've all been amazing. They really have. Like, there's maybe been 1 or 2 trolls, but otherwise, they've been great. And Weston, no different. We're going to have him on the show at some point, too. So, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they might go for the 3-peat. We'll see.
Hopefully not.
I hope not. For our sakes. All right. Anth, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Last up, we got the Chicago Bears at Buffalo Bills. So, guys, let me talk to you about this matchup a little bit here. I don't know if we're going to see Caleb Williams. I think we're going to see Tyson Bagent out there, which is great because he's gritty. He fits in with the city of Buffalo a little bit. Might as well start him at quarterback against us, right? Mitchell Trubisky, a lot of storylines here. Mitch Trubisky in the red and blue practice that I went to on Friday, which was held at the Bills Stadium, took a 60-yard scamper to the house. The guy looks athletic as ever. He feels comfortable as the backup quarterback to Josh Allen, and I think he's going to light it up just as he did a few years back against the Bears when he was in Chicago in the preseason. So I think we're going to see a repeat of that. In addition, everyone's talking about this wide receiver room and, who's going to make the team? Is MVS going to be the guy? Is MVS is on the team? He's dropped a lot of passes. He's been as 50-50 as it gets. Like, everyone's worried about that. I think we're going to see a little bit of Keon Coleman, and while he is still raw, this guy has glue hands. And his chemistry with JA-17 has looked phenomenal in practice. And I know it's just practice, but the scramble drill, they seem to have something going on there. People rumoring and saying they have better chemistry than Josh and Steph even had. So I'm excited to see, if he suits up on Saturday, and I want to see what he can do. I think he's gonna show some folks up a little bit. So very excited for that, of course. The other room that really doesn't get talked about enough competition-wise, I feel like, is the cornerback room. So we have a kid that was undrafted out of the University of Miami. His name's Corey Couch, and he has been absolutely shining. He is a nickel corner, but there's a battle for that second nickel corner spot. It's really between him, Daquan Hardy, and then like Cam Lewis, who can play safety as well. So I'm really curious to see, how those guys show out on Saturday. But he's been having a really strong camp. He's having, a ton of interceptions each practice and doing his thing out there. And he fits in really well with the scheme. He actually played underneath Jamil Adai, our new DB's coach at Miami for the last 2 seasons, was a 5-year starter there. So did some really nice things. So I think kind of an underrated UDFA signing. So love to see it. Sean McDermott, one of the better coaches at developing corners. Bobby Babich is the new defensive coordinator as well. He's had a hand in helping our secondary improve. And I'm also very excited to see what the safety room is going to look like. DeMar Hamlin has had a very strong camp. We were so excited because we drafted a guy named Cole Bishop in the 2nd round. I think he's Harrison Smith 2.0. Problem is he's dealing with the forearm injury, and he's going to be out for a little bit. He's going to miss some time, probably the entire preseason, more than likely. So right now it's time for some other guys to step up and, obviously show whether or not they're starter caliber. So we did sign Kareem Jackson, who is arguably one of the most dirty players in the NFL. In fact, I think he was suspended for almost half the year last year and fined over $1 million. So a lot of dirty hits from him.
I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten a letter like, "Hey, brother, you get one more of these hits, you're probably, you're
He
done."
has, honestly.
I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has.
That
But he's
letter
still
from Goodell, the letter from Goodell that says, "Stop wasting our money by causing injuries."
Yeah, really. It's crazy because he's 36 years old and he's actually still playing at somewhat of a high level. Like he's still a very solid starter. If he can just play a little smarter at times, I think that would be very beneficial to him. But at 36 years old, man, like he started a ton of games in the league, did make the switch from corner to safety. And I think he's a really good locker room addition in terms of having that knowledge of playing both of those positions. So could really benefit a guy like Cam Lewis, who sort of plays as a hybrid corner / safety. So yeah, excited to see what the safeties can do. And obviously special teams, I love seeing what these guys can do, especially with this new kickoff rule too. I'm just curious to see how our return team looks. And I mentioned Daquan Hardy. While he might not play nickel very much, he's definitely going to be a return man for us. So he's one of the best returners in the nation last year for Penn State. So definitely exciting. But that's all I got, boys. That's all I got. I know I was a lot of gibberish and I was long-winded there, but I'm fired up. It's preseason, baby. We're back. And the game's in Buffalo, so even more exciting. Can't beat it.
The weather's going to be
good stuff. Absolutely. All right, let's see here. I think that's really all I got. I'm gonna leave you guys with some closing thoughts here. I'm gonna go to Tyler first. Tyler, first show, baby. Glad to have you on. We're definitely gonna do more of this, of course. And how we feeling after your first appearance on the AFC East Summit? And what are your thoughts heading into the weekend? You excited or what?
Yeah, I love the banter. Obviously, I think the best part of any show really is going to be the banter when you go back and forth, and I think that's really enhanced with all the everyone being a different fan of a different AFC East team. You're going to get a lot of the shots flying back and forth.
Certainly.
And I'm excited for the pieces and just to see what the players have, because in these past few years, like from Patriots training camp, there's been a lot of people who always hype up some player as being like good. It happens to multiple players, obviously. And they just fall flat in the preseason and the regular season. So I'm kind of excited to see the practices be over and for us to start getting some snaps and some games and to see how people act when they're really in game time situations. And that's what I'm really excited for.
Well said, man. Well said. Anth?
Again, likewise, super excited about the preseason simply because you want to see some of these guys that I spent months scouting. So, I'm not even just a fan of the New York Jets during the preseason. I'm a fan of these kids coming out of college and trying to make a name for themselves. I know that some of these guys aren't going to make it, but I'm rooting for these offensive linemen. I'm rooting for these wide receivers. I'm rooting for these like day 3 cornerbacks that you're just like, I want to see this guy actually get out there and play. It's I didn't bring this up before our last show, but one of the things that drives me absolutely insane is how little the mainstream media, like the NFL media, gives credit to these guys and takes these games seriously. They have so many of the random interviews with like the third assistant coaches and whatever. And these guys some of these players are never going to get this is as close as they're going to get to the NFL. Mm-hmm. They have these random banter conversations I couldn't care less of. They cut away from the field in the middle of plays. Like, just, could we get like a Brett Coleman cast or some other nerds that just like football, just like me, and we can just we can talk about it, and we can watch these plays and dissect them, and gets interesting.
Analyze the players instead of analyzing your Thanksgiving conversation from last year or something.
Exactly. It drives me crazy during the Hall of Fame game, and I'm sure I'm going to see more in the preseason in the next couple of weeks or so. But like, let's try to take it seriously a little bit, because these kids, they're going out there, they're giving everything they can, second and third string teams.
Well put, man. Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because I don't think people totally get it. Like, this is their livelihood is on the line. Like, this could be the end of the road. Mm-hmm. And the NFL already is a, not for long league, right? So like, they're grinding for final roster spots. Like, this is everything to them. So put some respect on it. Absolutely. Just want to go to the comments quick too, just before we leave. As an FSU grad, love that KB made the league. And of course he goes, y'all. I'm assuming he meant Keon Coleman here.
Yeah, not Kelvin Benjamin.
For sure. Okay, Josh, thank you so much for joining us tonight, brother. Weston saying Patriots about to get Brandon Ayuk. We did talk a little bit about that, Weston. Tyler's excited about the chances of that. We'll see.
I think getting Ayuk would really increase the chances of May being successful. So I really would support it, even if it cost a lot.
It's the thing that makes the most sense, because they, as Tyler was saying, they have the most cap space. They're going to have a rookie quarterback, which means they're not going to have to pay him for 5 years minimum. His entire prime could be even overpaid, to be honest with you, and it'd be perfectly fine under what the Patriots have in terms of cap space right now, and cap space projecting going forward the next 4 years.
For sure. Yeah. We brought him on to take out Rodgers. Oh, Kareem Jackson, I'm assuming. I get so far behind on these comments. I apologize. I'm doing my best to get to you guys, but I'm long-winded as it is, and I lose track. I have so much CTE up here too. I can only use that as an excuse for so long, though. Go ahead, Tyler.
Let me just say, you don't need some special guy to take out Rodgers, okay? You don't need someone special. It happened last year.
The turf took him out.
4 snaps. Yeah, you don't need like a guy to do it. You just got to have him play football, and he'll naturally injure himself or do something dumb and gone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And God forbid that does happen. We never want to see injuries. We don't want to root for that. So hopefully everyone stays healthy this week. And yeah, thoughts and prayers up to these guys, But thank you to everyone that watched. We appreciate you, Anthony, Weston, Mike, Josh, Brett. Who else was out there? Roy was out there earlier. Doggone it. Nice to meet you as well. I don't think you've been on this show before, so thank you so much. Yeah, we appreciate everyone that watched and chimed in. And be sure to leave a like on the show. Feel free to subscribe as well. We have a very nice fan base here. We're building a nice community. We do have a Discord as well. It's 100% free. You can join with the link below in the description. We also are sponsored, kind of, sort of. We have our line of merch provided by Big Stitching Embroidery. I don't mention that enough, so I got to promote them, send it to them. There's a link in the description as well. And Dennis, good to see you out there. Thank you for joining. We're just about to sign off, but always a pleasure, sir. But yes, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tune in every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Tyler, newest member of the show. It was a pleasure, man. You did a fantastic job. First appearance. Excited to have you, brother. So,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. But to everyone out there, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna end the show by always saying, "Go Bills." Tyler, I don't know what you guys say in Pats Nation. Do you just say Pats Nation or?
It's Go Pats generally.
Go Pats. Go Pats.
You ask us what's your favorite ring, and we say the next one, and that's that.
Ridiculous.
Take flight.
There we go. All right, guys, take care. I'll say fins up for Keith, not for me. I'm gonna end off with Go Bills. Take care, guys. Have a great night.